We are the nerds. We are the nerds of the apocalypse.
Oh, the good old days was like, Aaron. Hi, everybody. Hi. Oh my gosh, this is great.
Was I really shorter than you at one point?
Yes, you were. Don't even question me.
Hard to imagine.
But true. You know what, I'm telling you, I talk about, you guys don't even know how special this is for me to be with Aaron. Because when we recorded Full Metal, he was literally, he wasn't playing a 12-year-old boy. He was a 12-year-old boy. And I've told this to many people, and I'm sure I've told him this. I always wanted a little brother. I'm an only child. And I always thought, man, if I could have any sibling, older sister, older brother, younger brother, I would love to have a younger brother. And I really felt like I did in Full Metal. And he was the greatest kid. He did such a great job with Alphonse, and we would do conventions together. And I think that was kind of when you started doing conventions, right? I mean, Full Metal was, you know, imagine a 12-year-old coming, you know, his mom would bring him, and they would push his little brother in the stroller. And I mean, we had so many great experiences together.
Yeah, Vic really showed me the ropes with cons.
We had so much fun.
Yeah.
Can I tell him the story? I have to tell him the story.
Tell him the story.
He's probably, dang it, he's going to tell the story. I think it was Toronto. I feel like it was Toronto. We were at maybe it wasn't, but we were at a spaghetti place for lunch. And it was one of those places where they have the butcher paper on the table and they give you crayons.
It's Trex.
Really?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh my gosh. Right? You can draw, you know what I'm talking about. They give you crayons, right? You can draw on the paper and right on the table. And Aaron was sitting beside me, and we had been signing all morning, and we were taking a lunch break. And Aaron, this is the way I tell the story. I hope it's true. Aaron was so young, and he was like just learning cursive in school, right? So here we are at an autograph session, right? And there's me and him and me, and 300 people in line. So they got to get him first and then me, right? And he's sitting there going, A, R. Oh, I'm like, for the love of God, Aaron, please. I'm like, we have a 3-hour autograph session. We're going to get to 4 people. We're never going to get to everybody. So we're at this place for lunch, and Aaron goes, can you show me how to sign my name really fast? And so, do you remember, I know I'm not making this up because I can see it in my mind. I said, okay, let's think about it. Your first name, Aaron. You could do the A, or you could do the right? Like an A with a point. Like, so do that. And then just kind of trail out after the A. And then Dismuke, like a with a nice cool D, and then just kind of scribble and do a little heartbeat for the K. And cutest kid I've ever seen. He sat there the whole time waiting for the food, practicing on the butcher paper, on the table.
It was covered.
Yeah. It was so, and I just love him so much. He was the little brother I never had. And I was like, I'm serious, and now he's all grown up and he's directing and acting and it's just, he was one of my favorite experiences. I love Maxie Whitehead. Don't get me wrong. Maxie did an amazing job.
She did.
Because someone had to, right? I mean, he was growing up, and so somebody had to take that spot for brotherhood, but nobody will ever replace Aaron Dismuke in my heart as my little brother. So, thank you guys for being here, and I'm sorry to get all serious right out of the gate, but good.
That is exactly how you start. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. Hope you guys are having a good time. Hey, how's your weekend going? Well, so far, yeah. And you just got here.
Oh my gosh, it's been a crazy weekend. I was doing a one-day signing in Nashville yesterday. Well, Clarksville. So I flew into Nashville the day before, signed all day, signed all day yesterday, and then they took me right back to the airport, and I flew here. Oh, you're gonna love this. So here we are in Colombia, right? Nashville, Colombia. You see it in your mind, right? Here was my flight path. Nashville, Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. to Colombia. I was like, I could have rented a camel in Nashville and rode it here in less time. And then I almost missed the flight. I was like, oh, this is even better. So not only am I going out of the way, but I'm going to miss the flight, and I'm not going to be able to get there. But I'm so glad to be here with you guys, and it's always a thrill. When the convention organizer contacted me, he's like, hey, can you put us in touch with Aaron? I'm like, heck, yes I can. Let's get the brothers Elric together again.
Heck yes.
So, yes.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for being here. So happy to do this with you guys. How many of you seen a live action Full Metal? How many of you, okay, ready, watch the hands fall. Hold your hands up if you've seen a live action on Netflix. Now, keep your hands up if you even knew that there was an English dub of that. Yeah, Netflix is brilliant at marketing, are they not? I'm serious, nobody knows.
Yeah, so there is one, and me, Vic, and Caitlin are all in it as our respective characters. The justification for why I'm in it as Al is because Al is 17 in the movie version of it, and his body / soul have been aging, so they were like, yeah, we can swing this, do it. And I was like, all right.
Yeah, so check it out. You can watch it with the original, with the English Ed, Al, and Winry on Netflix. And then write Netflix and say, what the heck? How come you're not telling people what this?
I do blame Netflix for that. I do blame it. Luckily, I actually have to run subtitles anyways, and I was like, do English stuff. Hey, look at this! I know those voices! I myself was a big Fullmetal fan. I remember watching the original, and then of course, thankfully, Brotherhood came out and was a little closer to the manga, so I was really appreciative of that. But you guys do a fantastic job as ever.
You know, I'm going to tell you the truth, man. Everybody that comes up and says, which one do you like better? And you know, most people like Brotherhood better. And I think it's mostly because of the story.
Yeah.
But I have a kind of unique perspective, right?
Yeah.
And I have to tell people, you know, I love them both, but I have a very, very special place in my heart for the original. Because it was my first, my first exposure to Ed and Al and Winry and the whole story. And it was so endearing to me that even though Brotherhood might have been a more developed story, for me, I mean, the first one was kind of like my first love for Full Metal, and you never really lose that.
You never do, and even though I love Brotherhood because of the fact that it pertained to the manga, and it was because of Full Metal, I went to go read it, and then Brotherhood came out and followed along the deck. We can never forget the original, guys. We can never forget it, because you guys brought Edward and Elric more real to life to us, and
it was an amazing group effort. I mean, everybody in that show, every voice in that show, everybody was so great.
And it's not all that common. Like,
oh no.
It's plenty common for there to be a couple of duds or whiffs in a given show.
Yeah.
Everything it all lined up, it really did.
Yeah, everything about the first show hit. You know what I mean? It just kind of fired on all cylinders.
Yep.
The story was great. The animation was great. The music was great. The English dub was great. The translation was great. I mean, there are 15 different places in an English dub where it can fall apart. You know what I mean? You could do great, and one thing just isn't quite good. The mix. I mean, there's so many things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
And the first Full Metal was it just really nailed it. And I have to tell them, while we're right on this moment, on this subject, a lot of you guys wrote me and asked me about music CDs, because some of you may or may not know, I write and produce music professionally. I've got music CDs at the autograph table. I'd love to sign them for you. And I also have a live concert DVD. But the reason I'm telling you about it is because there's something on the concert DVD that has never been available before. back when we were recording the first Full Metal series, I was so in love with it that I wanted to cosplay. And I wanted to cosplay as Edward.
Get your walls out!
So I came up with this story idea whereby a grown man would turn into an anime character. And then I started asking the other voice actors in Full Metal if they wanted to be part of it. So we got together one weekend in Houston, Texas, and we shot something called Fullmetal Fantasy. It's a live-action voice actors from the show cosplaying as their characters. Now, how many of you have seen Fullmetal Fantasy? Yeah, look around. 2, 3, 4. You know why? Because, as I said, it's never been available. I might show it at a convention, or I might show it in a live concert. So I would do a live music concert, I would show Fullmetal Fantasy, and then I would come out on stage and play and sing the Brothers theme. So it was a nice little segue. But as I was putting together this live concert DVD, I thought, you know what, maybe it's time to make Fullmetal Fantasy available to fans. And Aaron is in it as Alphonse. And I have that at the table as well, so now that I've had the chance to tell you that I've got it, hopefully if that sounds like something you guys would enjoy. It's great music, songs from Full Metal, Be an Angel, or in high school, Dragon Ball Z, and Full Metal Fantasy. So
The hallway's gonna fit these.
I only have a handful left, so if you'd like to get one, I'd be happy to sign it, and they'll be at the table. So
That is awesome. That is so awesome. So, Aaron, I want to start with you. And you're now doing the acting, you're doing the directing. I actually want, for me personally, talk a little bit about the ADR aspect of it, because I saw that was on your resume. Can you talk a little bit about that? What the process is?
The adaptive writing stuff? Yeah, that's my main gig right now. I just started working full-time at it. Basically, a question a lot of people ask whenever I tell them I'm a voice actor, not usually anime fans, but like random people are like, what do you do? And I tell them that, and they're like, oh, you speak Japanese? No. I know baka. And that's because I directed a show called Nambaka. And hey, right on. So the first line of defense is we have our translators, and then from that, we have the people who are going to shorten the translation to where it can be fit into a subtitle. And then sometimes, for some companies, that is what gets sent for the person to try to adaptively write, which makes it seem like the Japanese take forever to say very short sentences.
Yeah.
For a long time, I thought, that was why they lost the war, was because it took so long to shout duck. But no, this is not the case. The subtitlers shorten it. I'm sorry. Sorry, Japan. Please let me do anime still.
World History with Aaron Dismuke.
And then I get that translation and also a bunch of helpful little notes about why the translator made certain choices that they made and what the actual colloquial phrase might be. And then it's my job to try to come up with some equivalent of that that also fits in with the existing mouth animations, the pauses and stuff. So,
Which is not as easy as you would think. You guys.
Sometimes it's...
And it's a lot more than just adding really, 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 just really. You know what I mean?
Dude, bro.
Exactly. Dude, man, bro. It's much more difficult than you might think. To say something and have to add to it and communicate the same intent without it sounding like you just padded the heck out of the sentence. You know what I mean? Give them an example. Give them something like think of a phrase and how you would rewrite it to fit. And give them the mouth flaps, you know what I mean, for timing and stuff. They would love that. Wouldn't you?
Yeah. Okay, I'll do another question while I try to think of one that's appropriate, because I've been writing Fullmetal Panic and Attack on Titan, and those are both pretty intense.
You know what, while you're thinking of one, I'll give them a musical one. How many of you have heard the Oran song that I did? Okay, so here's my example. Listen to this melody. I'm going to hum a melody. And I want you to time it in your mind. See, think how long it takes me to hum this melody. Ba ba ba, ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba. Got it? That's like 10 or 12 seconds, right?
Yeah.
You know what the actual Japanese lyric for that is? It's a crime that God created me beautiful. Yeah, right? That doesn't fit. It doesn't even come close. So when I adapted it in English, I adapted it to this. What a crime, such a beautiful crime, that God would make a star as bright as I. So see, it says the same thing, but you have to pad it out, you know, without going, it's a crime, 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 crime. You know, you gotta do more with it than just
Sounds like a high
add
school play right there.
Pardon?
That sounds like a high school play right there.
It kind of does, doesn't it?
I think that covered it well.
Good job.
Question, did you want to ask Aaron something else?
Actually, I was going to switch over to you.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Because recently, I've been watching Fairy Tale. It's nice to know there's two of you fans of that. So, and I'm catching up because I finished the manga first, and I watched a bunch of the subs, and I'm watching dubs, and lo and behold, I found out that you did the voice for one of my favorite villains.
Oh, he's a bad dude.
He is a bad dude, and when I heard it, and remember, I hear your voice from Edward Elric. Because that was instantly what I had watched Brotherhood a couple of days ago, but I hear Mark Gear, and I'm like, wait a minute, is this, what? Vic, who are you? Mark Gear is so vicious.
Yeah, he is.
And the way...
And he beats the crap out of Natsu. I'd like to point that out.
He does. He does.
He's also a very smooth talker.
Oh, he is.
That's what killed me, is the fact that Mark Gear, even reading it, I had a picture in mind. I had it pictured how his voice would be. And you brought it to life. And you brought it more intense. And it's not even the intensity of, you hear anger from it. You hear the smoothness of Mark Gear.
Well, and you know what? That's to the credit also of Tyler. Tyler, who directed it.
Mm-hmm.
He is, you know, the main man behind Fairy Tale.
Yeah.
And I was so excited that he brought me in to be a part of it. And, you know, he and I worked together to dial that voice in. And that was his direction. So, thank you, man. I was just glad to be a part of Fairy Tale. I think they cast every other actor, and they ran out of people. I'm like, oh, me? I would like to be in Fairy Tale.
No, Vic, let me tell you now, as a fan, when I look at my video games, we all know who our video game voice actors are. Nolan North,
Troy Baker.
Troy Baker. Those are our two. When I look at anime, I look at the list. Where's Vic? Vic should be in here.
Vic clearly didn't pay the director enough money.
I mean, you're one of the staple voice actors, especially at this generation, for anime. So we thank you a lot for what you do. And Aaron, we love you doing your writing. Get more voice. Get on that microphone, boy. This is going to be great. So let's actually turn it over a little bit to some questions from the fans. Raise your hand if you have a question. Let's go over here.
Oh, really? I really deliberated about this today.
He woke up like this.
No, I have to tell you, I've never worn these pants or this shirt before, ever. I got them a couple weeks ago, and I brought them, like, I put the shirt on this morning, and then I put the pants on, I was like, oh crap. They're like little studs on both that looks like a uniform or something. This is a bad idea.
Yeah, it does.
Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you.
Aaron, you're an icon.
I don't know about that.
Do you have a favorite song done from either Scene with Aura or my favorite from Brothers that you did with Fullmetal?
Well, Brothers is such a beautiful song. Oh my gosh, such a beautiful song. And it was originally in Russian. It was originally sung. Did you not know that? Yeah, it's not Japanese, it's Russian. And it was recorded by the Warsaw Boys Choir, the one that's in the show. And it's called Bracha, which means brothers in Russian. And somebody translated it into English and sent it to me. I'm like, oh, I have to record this. And one of my CDs not only has the original version on it, but I did a remix of Brothers, like a kick-in club mix version. Really? It's cool. It is cool. And any musicians in here? Okay, you're gonna appreciate this. The original Brothers is in this time signature. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How can I repay you, brother? Right? It's in 6/4, I think, or 6/8. Okay, so club mix stuff is usually right? 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, it's a different time signature.
Yeah.
So I had to adapt Brothers into that time signature. And it's really cool. And Aaron's voice is in it. It's so cool. My voice is in it? Aaron's like, wait a minute, royalties? What?
What am I doing in it?
No, you go, brother, please.
That's like when it's like doing the speed up thing
Right.
before the drop.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's really cool. And it's like, hey, give me a beat. Give me that 4 beat. Just do that. No, keep going. I'm gonna show them.
You do the beat.
Go ahead. Give me that kick. 3, 4. And this is how I adapted it. How can I repay you, brother mine? It's cool.
Buy the CD.
And both versions are on there, so if you're like, I hate that version. The original's on there too.
Remind me to have that for NashiCon next year, right? You're on, Perry. Let's see.
Thank
Just
you
jump
for
over
the
here.
question, sweetie. Thank you.
So Vic, let's come back as Broly.
Oh yeah! It's time to kick some butt. I'm so excited about the new DBZ movie.
Yes.
You know, I've played Broly for 15 years. I know, crazy, right? 3 movies, 13 video games.
Matt, and how many times have they killed you?
That's a secret, Aaron.
Oh, no
You
one
can't
ever
kill
dies in
Broly.
Dragon Ball Z. Don't you know that? Oh yeah, he's died several times and come back. But, you know, I always wanted him to be part of, you know, like, oh, why don't they make him canon, you know?
Yeah.
Why don't they bring him in, like, make him part of the Prime universe? And so I'm extremely jazzed about the new movie coming out. I'm excited. I'm hoping to get to do it very soon. It's gonna be great.
Do you know what level of Super Saiyan Broly has achieved at this point?
No? What's the highest one?
I think it's like SSJ squared.
That's the one. That's the one. The
Ultraviolet.
next time somebody asks me, I'm like, SSJ squared. I don't know if you know it, but that's the highest.
So, yes, ma'am.
I love that the T-Rex is raising his hand. You can't tell. You're like, can anyone see my hand? I'm raising my hand. Back here.
Can't raise it, but he's just staying in character, which I highly respect.
It looks like he's holding a big high note too. Yeah. Welcome, commoner.
We're the shitty twins! Okay.
I killed them both.
I saw them finish on hiding again. Okay, so question for you and Aaron, and then one question for you. What got you guys into voice acting?
Nepotism. My cousin, his name's Justin Cook, and he was directing a show called Fruits Basket. Goodness.
And who did he play in the Yu Yu Hakusho? He was one of the main characters.
Oh yeah, he's Yusuke Urameshi as well. Yeah. Yu Yu Hakusho. And Justin knew that I was reading at a fairly high level. I was in 3rd grade pretending to read Lord of the Rings. I turned every page, but I don't know how much of it actually stuck. But he was like, hey, you should try this, because right now we only use women for little boy parts. And so, like what I lacked in acting ability, I was able to make up for in being an actual boy until I finally had some acting ability through practice. So yeah, I was really lucky. How about you?
You know, something else that I want to add about Alphonse in the original Fullmetal was they auditioned a lot of girls that you know. I mean, Monica Rial, several of the girls up at Funimation, they auditioned. But they had this great actual 12-year-old boy. Now, and I hope you don't mind me pointing this out. I think they'll appreciate this. One of the hardest things in dubbing anime, is not just performing the lines, but performing them in the mouth flaps of the character. Some people can do one really well, and some people can do the other really well, but not many people can do both really well. Make it sound fluid and organic, but pausing at just the right places to make it match. You know what I mean? A 12-year-old would probably be driven insane trying to do something like that. You know what I mean? He would do it for 10 minutes and he'd be like, let me out of this box, I'm done with this, I don't want to do it anymore, right? There's one reason.
20 minutes at a time.
Right, but even then, think about Alphonse. Alphonse didn't have mouth flaps.
Training wheels.
So it was the perfect set of circumstances. Because the character needs to be an actor. You can't just hire a little kid. It needs to be an actor. And Aaron did a great job with it. But somebody that young would have had a pretty challenging time with matching the mouth flaps. Especially for a character that spoke as much as Al did. He was main character, right? So it was perfect. And he just, every episode, he was developing his skills. And as soon as Fullmetal was over, he's doing all kinds of great new characters. And like he said, had developed his acting abilities by that point. For me, I've been acting since I was a very little kid. Because of Star Trek. I have to tell you the truth. I have to be honest, man. I would watch Star Trek every day, and I loved it so much, and I wanted to do what they were doing. I wanted to tell stories that moved people the way Star Trek moved me. So I went to school and started auditioning for plays. And like I'm talking like 10, 12, 13 years old. And then I just continued doing theater, and musical theater, and acting, and stage work, and on camera whenever I could get the chance. And then about 20 years ago, I was living in Houston, Texas, and I was working on a video production with a couple of guys. And one of the guys said, hey, you have a lot of acting experience, John Grimion. He said, you've got a lot of acting experience, don't you? You should go and audition for this place in town called ADV Films. They buy these Japanese animated shows and they dub them into English, and they're looking for actors. And all I heard was, they're looking for actors. Because as an actor, you look for chances to act. I didn't ask him, well, how much does it pay? I didn't care. I just wanted to act. I didn't ask him, well, how is it going to be distributed? I don't care. I just wanted to act. So I went and auditioned, and I got cast as Vega in Street Fighter 2. And I figured that was a one-time thing. You know, it was just a weird little thing. They asked you to do this thing one time, and now you go back to your life of writing music for ad agencies and commercials and stuff like that. And they called me back to do another show, and then another, and it just kind of snowballed from there. So I was extremely grateful and fortunate to be in that position, to get the opportunity when I did.
Sometimes it's always about just timing and luck.
It's about timing and luck, but you have to have the skills.
You have to have that.
And this is important. You know, a lot of people go, yeah, it's all who you know. Well, kind of. Can I just say?
I'm a pretty rare exception.
Exactly, and you know what? He knew Justin Cook, but guess what? If Justin Cook would have brought Aaron in at 12 years old, put him in front of a microphone, and he stumbled around and couldn't get through a sentence, he would not have been cast, and he would not be sitting here right now. You see, right? Just like with me. If I'd have gone to audition for something and I didn't have the acting skills, I wouldn't have been cast. So an opportunity, or knowing somebody, or being in the right place at the right time, might get you an opportunity. But you got to be able to deliver the goods to get cast and to keep working. You know what I mean? It's a combination of those.
Another reason theater is really helpful for those of you who are aspiring voice actors is auditioning is a really nerve-wracking process. So even if like you normally would have the skill to be able to sight read something you've never seen before and do a realistic performance on it, if you don't have the experience of like that terrifying experience of like walking up onto a stage in front of the a panel of directors and also, then later in front of a live audience and having to do lines you've memorized, you're not gonna have the experience to like give yourself confidence for whenever you audition for VO work. And I think that's really important. That was something that helps me a lot because like whenever my voice started getting cracky, there's a YouTube video called The Death of Aaron's Voice that's of Conqueror of Shambhala, this really emotional scene where I'm like, brother, I just got you back! And like, I was 14, so it was all over the place. So things dipped off for me after that for a bit, and then I started doing high school theater, and that really helped me to like rebuild some confidence, especially for whenever I was auditioning for directors I didn't have any relationship with, because it's a little scary. So it helps to have the experience of having faced that type of performance anxiety and overcome it.
The other half of my question.
Hold on one second. A lot of people also say, oh, well, I could never do like theater. I'd be too nervous, but I could do voice acting. If you're nervous on a stage looking out into blackness where like you don't even see the audience, imagine being in a box with a $1,000 microphone in front of your mouth, and when you open your lips, you hear the sound. The scrutiny with which your voice is being examined, and it's not like a faceless dark sea of audience. It's two guys right there, 10 feet away on the other side of a glass window, and they're doing this. And examining everything you do.
And when you finish your take, maybe you get a quick like, thank you. But then they take their foot off of the pedal that lets you hear them, and they talk to each other for about 15 to 20 seconds. And like sometimes they do gestures, and you're just like, oh they're gonna beat me up. They hate it. They think I caused them. So yeah, it's pretty bad.
So if you think you're nervous on stage doing theater and voice acting would be easier, you may be a little more surprised than that.
But the other half of my question was, Vic, do you wish you made Oron High School Kids from season 2?
I would give anything on the planet Earth and every other planet to do more Oron High School.
Do you need to help me?
We should launch a Kickstarter. But since we're talking about Tamaki, it should be a Kingstarter. No, really, I would give anything. Everybody that was involved in Oron would love to do more Oron. I would love it.
I felt like it's an anime that never got to be an anime because there's so much in the manga that happens and it's so great. But
every once in a while, old shows are new seasons are coming out.
Fullmetal Panic.
Fullmetal Panic, Sayuki. Oh my gosh, I did Sayuki 20 years ago, and a new season just came out. So who knows? Oron did not do as well in Japan as it did in the English-speaking parts of the world. So hopefully somebody somewhere will go, hey, you know what? Maybe we should do another season of that show because it did really well.
Here's open. Hey, I want to actually grab the T-Rex. Ask a translator. Whoever speaks dinosaur.
He's like, what he wants to know is,
Scary movie.
sorry?
What's your favorite scary movie?
That's a you question, not it question.
The T-Rex like, that's what he said.
28 Days Later, probably for me. I know it's sort of in the psychological thriller range, but it's pretty scary. And it gives you moments that you really connect with the characters. It Follows is also really good.
Oh, yeah. I have to go back, like, when I was younger,
Of course.
to think of movies that really scared me. Because now I'm like, oh, wow, that was scary. You know what I mean? Like, that's really hit me the same. But I go back, way back, like The Shining, you know, some of those movies, like way back, when I was like, oh my, you know, yeah, The Shining. Even Poltergeist was a little scary at the time that I saw it, the original.
Yeah.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Halloween,
You don't say. Which Halloween?
1978, original.
Good man. Let's go over here on this side.
It's like
Let's go
Jurassic
that one
Park.
over here.
What's your favorite character you've ever voiced and why?
Probably Leonardo Watch from Blood Blockade Battlefront. Al is awesome, but like, you would hope that after 13 years of voice acting, you improve somewhat. And I hope that that's the case, and I feel like it is whenever I watch through, like whenever I rewatch, I can't help but criticize 11-year-old Aaron. I'm like, come on. So Leo, I got to do pretty recently. Like I last recorded for him like a year ago, and that show's just really funny, and it hits on a lot of cool beats. The soundtrack is awesome, and I was glad to be part of it.
Yeah. I would have to, I mean, how can I not say Ed? You know, I mean, and it's, I don't even think it's because of me, it's because I just love the show so much. You know, you could act your whole life and never get to play a character like Edward Elric. You know what I mean? Like, there are thousands of characters out there, and I've gotten to play a lot of roles, but there's just something special about that character. And the type of character he was, and his journey, and his attitude, and everything. You know, it's like, you know, Mark Hamill could do a million roles, but who gets to play Luke Skywalker? You know what I mean? Very, very few opportunities that someone gets to be like that kind of iconic character. And I'm so honored to have been a part of Fullmetal. And Ed definitely, and I played him longer probably than any other character I played. So you develop a real connection with somebody you just keep getting to come back and play. Tamaki, absolutely, I love Oran so much. But I'm working on a lot of stuff right now. I mean, Crow from Ruby is so much fun. And
Dude, you cracked me up at the you're drunken, I found him. Whenever you bring me in and you pass out. Yeah.
I love it. And yeah, so probably I'd have to say that.
Well, speaking on these favorite characters, a lot of voice actors, even actors themselves, always take something away from the character and put onto themselves. What did Edward and even Elric or Alphonse teach you guys?
You can pretty much switch out what would Jesus do with what would Alphonse do. And you're still on a solid moral high ground.
Mine is the loincloth.
Hey, speak for yourself, you know? I'm still mustering up the courage. It's hard to follow Al's path, but someday I'll get there.
You know, when you're acting any role, when you're playing any character, you try to find something about the character you can connect with.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, the one thing that I connected with Ed about was that his dad was gone. Ed Now's dad took off, right? He wasn't around, and Ed was pretty ticked about that. And I could connect with that. My parents divorced when I was 9, and my dad was gone, and so all the time that Ed was talking about, you know, what a jerk his dad was, how he was going to punch him in the face when he saw him, so I'm like, oh, okay, I get that. But I think the one thing I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning, the one thing I took away, just got a little moonlighting in here. I think the one thing that I took away from it was the incredible relationship between the brothers. And people have always asked, what's your favorite character, and who's your favorite character in Fullmetal besides Ed? I'm like, Al. I just loved the relationship between them, and that was something that I took away.
Awesome. Let's go over here. A little one in the red boat.
Yeah. Hi. What's your favorite, both of you, what's your favorite arc in Fullmetal Alchemist, either seasons?
probably the Dante Hohenheim backstory.
Yeah.
First of all, the soundtrack at their dramatic moments is one of my favorite, like the da 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 da. That one, that's nice. And it's just like such a messed up romance they have with the like they're killing other people to sustain one another, but like, you know, it's a really evil thing to do, except that the first time Dante did it, she did it for Hohenheim, not for selfish reasons. I just thought that was like a really interesting sort of moral question.
Wow. My answer is nowhere near as cool as that one. I can't think of a specific arc that I liked, but what I will tell you is, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but my favorite moments in Full Metal were the moments between the brothers. You know, every time Ed is around anyone else, he's cocky and smart ass, you know what I mean? And he's rebellious, and he's, you know, throwing it up to Mustang, and, you know, trying to act like he's cool, and he's got it all together. But when he's alone with his brother, you see the uncertainty and the fear and the not really knowing what he's doing, and he's kind of scared. I loved those moments. I looked forward to every one of those scenes to play those kind of moments with Al.
I got a little bit choked up whenever I was recording for the live action movie, which, let's be honest, has its flaws. But I got choked up recording for it whenever we were fighting.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And you're punching me in the face repeatedly. But I am a metal suit of armor. I'm a metal suit of armor, and he's using his physical hand, not his automail hands. And I'm like, stop, brother, it hurts. And he's like, what are you talking about? You can't even feel anything. And I'm like, it hurts to see you hurt. It's just, yeah, they got a lot of those kind of, yeah.
There were several places that I teared up, just at the reality that I was playing that character again. You know?
Yeah.
I loved him so much, and when Brotherhood was over, I was like, this is, I'm sure, going to be it. Like, I'm sure I'm not going to get to play this character again. And so there were several scenes in the movie that I was really into, and found myself tearing up a lot, because they brought back a lot of the memories of the original that I loved so much.
Yeah, it's always the main image that always pops in my head when it comes to the brothers is when Alphonse is questioning himself if he's real.
Oh yeah.
From the warehouse. That whole scene, every time, it just, you can't help but tear up. And you guys did such a passionate job. Like, how was that between you two, having to voice that scene?
Most of my anger, the place that I channeled it from was my anger at Alphonse for believing a serial killer over his brother.
He's a very
When I was initially serial killer. It's true, he's good with people somehow. He really knows how to get inside them.
You did this. That's on footage.
So it goes.
All right, let's come over here on this side. Yes, ma'am.
Are you looking forward to playing Sabo in One Piece?
Oh my gosh, yes. Love One Piece. You know, I sang 3 of the theme songs, and then I played a few characters in the show, like episodic characters. And when Joel McDonald said, hey, I want you to do this guy for a movie, and then I found out who he is, and he's coming somewhere out there in the future.
It's coming to Dressrosa.
Pardon me?
It's coming to Dressrosa.
Well, I can't wait. Every time I go to Funimation, I kind of stick my head in Joel's door. I'm like, hey, where's Sabo? I mean, have we gotten to that arc yet?
Dude, you know, Joel has left Funimation.
Yes, and who's taken over?
Jade has taken his spot, but I don't know who's taking over One Piece. Yeah.
A plan is forming. I see Aaron Dismuke as the director. Yeah, I
Only have to watch 300 episodes
Yeah, right.
to catch
So
up.
what happened up till now? Yeah, I'm excited about Sabo. Very excited. Yes.
Let's go with Edward over here.
For both of you, what was it like recording for Ruby?
So I don't know about you, but I've only remote recorded for it. Have you gone in at all?
Go ahead, finish yours.
I haven't met the guys. We record over a Skype chat. And so as a result, like, I know that there is Miles in there. I think there's someone whose name starts with a C. Carrie, yep, Carrie. And I know there's another voice. At least one other.
I think Cohen may be around too.
Cohen? Yeah. But they are the amalgamate that is Rooster Teeth, and they are a very good director. But like I haven't seen their faces, so it's like I'm being directed by a cerebral. No, that's not the word. Ethereal counsel. It's just like, yeah, they're just voices in my head that are like, hey, that was great, man. I'm just like, oh, thanks, guys.
What do you look like?
Yeah.
Describe yourself.
I've seen their Twitter pictures, but I don't know which voice goes to which. Eventually, I'm gonna get lunch with them or something and figure it
Is that
out.
Austin?
Yeah.
By the way, Rooster Teeth is in Austin. Aaron's in Dallas at Funimation, and I'm anywhere but. But no, I've only recorded remotely too, except one time. So I did not only remotely. Check this out. I don't even talk to them. They send me the script. I'm not on the phone with them. They send me the script.
You do great. You're self-directing?
Yeah. And I don't even know what's happening. Like, really. What I'll do is they'll send me the script, and then I'll go through and record the crow lines, but I'll read the scene. And then I'll do the lines the way I think they would go in the scene, but I'll give them a couple of versions of every line. Because if you think about it, if you see a phrase on a page, there are 5 ways you could read that line, right? If the line on the page says, "What are you doing here?" Well, how do you say that? Well, what are you doing here? Well, what if they wanted it more suspicious? What are you doing here? What if the guy's at the back of the room? If you said it like that, he would never hear you. What they would want is, what are you doing here? Right? Or what if it's this particular person that's not allowed in this particular place? What are you doing here? See what I'm saying? So, how do you know? So I'll send them multiple versions of every line for them to choose from. And I never worked with anybody until I went to RTX last year for the first time and had so much fun. And I stayed one day after so that I could record whatever volume it was corresponding with last year, RTX. And I went to their studio and got to sit in with the guys and do the line. So it was really neat to actually.
That's awesome. Yeah, I want to do that.
You should do that just one time.
Yeah.
Just pop down to RTX to Austin one time, so you can kind of put names with the faces and.
I'd like to do that.
You're close by.
Well, it's 3 hours, and I got pulled over speeding the last time I went to Austin, so I feel kind of burned.
Enough said. Let's come over here. Blue shirt.
What was it like fighting against each other in Arslan?
Wait, one more time. I'm sorry.
What was it like fighting against each other in the heroic legend of Arslan?
Oh. Cousin.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
Legend of Arslan.
I think that was the first time I heard you as a villain. Because I hadn't.
Oh my gosh, and we also did Escaflowne.
Oh yeah.
You guys, Escaflowne fans, anybody out here? Woo! So Funimation redubbed Escaflowne, and I'm playing Falcon, the older brother.
And I'm Vaughn, the younger brother.
Yeah, so we got to be brothers again. But Arslan was cool. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Heel Mace, is that how?
Yes, Silver Mask.
Yeah,
right?
He was super cool. And that's a different, like, it's interesting thing about the difference between that and Mark Gear. Because Heel Mace is like Mark Gear's power, I felt like was, a lot of it was in self-assured, like, he was so confident that he didn't have to show anger most of the time. Whereas Heel Mace is like, had a lot of power taken from him.
Yeah.
The nuances of your performance were cool.
Thank you, man. Thank you, bro. He knows his stuff.
He does.
Come a long way, baby.
Yeah. So the question was, how was it fighting between one another?
I mean, I was
Do
ready.
you have a brother?
You were ready?
You have a brother? Look, you got a brother right there. How was it fighting between you guys?
Fun. Fantastic.
There you go. It was fun. All right, it was fun.
Little one in the black shirt over here.
Which one?
Oh, he's taking the picture.
Video.
Oh. Sorry, I forgot it was 2018. I'm old.
So I'm still very early on in the Brotherhood, and all of this is great to me. And the one question that's been going through my mind is, who would win, Ed or the Winter Soldier? Well,
Oh, that's easy. Yeah, the last time I checked, the Winter Soldier can't do alchemy. So, although I did like his awesome arm, I will tell you that when I saw him, like, dang, that's a nice arm. Okay, give me one of those.
Be ashamed
Come on,
if
Winry.
someone were to...
Winry, I'm gonna fax over a picture of this guy called the Winter Soldier.
I'm gonna need that fan
Make me
thing
one
right
of
now.
these.
I need that written.
For that, you know, if we ever were to like get somebody to animate that battle, I think that's what you do after you beat him up, is you're looking at his arm and you kind of kick it, and then you call Winry and you're like, hey, I'm gonna send you a picture. Don't mind the unconscious guy it's attached to.
Let's come over here. Yes, ma'am.
Being an only child, what emotion or what drove you to the bond that y'all shared in the show itself? But I mean, a lot of that dialogue is very emotional, but without having a brother yourself, where did you get that from?
Well, I think it comes from, you know, you could either channel emotion from having a brother, or you would channel the emotion of not having a brother. Right?
One. Yeah.
So,
I was
yeah.
the only child at the time too. Well,
Yeah.
by the time I was 13, I had a baby brother who was younger. But yeah.
Yeah, so you would either channel what it's like to interact with your actual brother, if you had one, or you would channel the feelings that you wish you had one, and what it would be like in your mind if you had one. And what would it be like if you had one that you really loved, and you did some really dumb things together, and you almost killed your brother,
And the older brother had totally roped you into it. But you're the bigger person.
well, that's up for debate. But yeah, that would just be it. Would just be loving the idea of having a little brother and channeling as much of your feeling for that brother that you wish you had as you can. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Nick.
How do you think
Rock on.
glitching of the show?
Wait, me?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, blue shirt.
Yes. What was it like filming the chibi version of Fullmetal Alchemist? Also, he has a question. Yeah.
Oh, the OVA, where they let me. That's the last time they let me record Al. Was
Oh my gosh. Was that the one?
yeah,
where
it was the party, and you're like, Al, what happened to your voice? And I'm like, it's called puberty. Maybe someday it'll happen to you. That's what it was like for me.
bringing up such a painful subject. Give me a paper cut for lemon juice in it. I love that. McFarlane, did Mike come up with that, or did you?
Yeah, no, Mike came up with
They brought Aaron in for that chibi party, right? Wasn't that what it was? And Aaron was hanging on by a thread to that younger voice, and Mike McFarlane was like, you know what? Let's just go with it. You know, just embrace it. And so he walks in, and he's like, hey, brother. And I'm like, hey, Al, what happened to your voice?
It's called puberty. Maybe it'll happen to you someday.
So from there on out, he could just talk like him, be himself, and not have to worry about pushing it somewhere else. I love the OVAs, and they were a lot of fun. That was my favorite part, definitely.
Let's get that other one out. We had to mix up.
Okay, sorry. How do you think in the show of Fullmetal Alchemist, the character's faith and religion affects the show of the characters?
Okay, I heard religion and the character and Ed. Is that kind of it?
She said, how does the faith slash religion of the characters affect the characters?
Oh, wow. Well, my faith is very important to me. You may or may not know that about me. It's kind of pretty obvious, pretty public online. And people always write me. And they're like, how could you play this character who's like so like anti-God and atheist or whatever? Well, and the answer to that is easy. It's called acting. You know what I mean? We both play tons of characters who we are not. I'm not a homicidal maniac, but I play one. You know, there are plenty of roles that you play as an actor that are not you. That's the whole point of acting. I mean, you know, Aaron only got cast as a tall, good-looking 20. What? How old are you now? 22?
25.
Oh God, have mercy. You know what I mean? If he only got cast as this kind of cool, easygoing 25-year-old guy, well, where's the challenge in that? That's who he is, right? So acting is about playing a role that is not you. And I also have a lot of empathy for Ed. You know, when you go through serious tragedy, like your dad leaving you, leaving your family, and then your mom dying when you're young, and trying to do something that you're not allowed to do to bring her back with your brother, who's the only family you have left, and screwing that up too, and almost losing him, and you know what I mean? I mean, a lot of tragedy. And even in our world, tragedy has a tendency to affect people, you know what I mean, in such a way as to make them shake their fist at the heavens, right? Why is this happening to me? Why? Or, you know, how could there even be anything more with all this pain and heartache that's going on? I mean, that's completely relatable. So I got Ed's attitude. You know, but what's funny is that in one scene, Ed's telling Rose at the beginning of the show, you should put down the scriptures and pick up an alchemy book because we're the closest thing to gods there are. Right? And I'm like, whoa, that's a little asking for the lightning, right? So you think, wow, yeah, he really. There goes the Geiger counter. But then like 4 episodes later, when he almost gets killed by Barry the Chopper, and he's sitting on the steps with Alphonse, what does he say? We're not gods, we're tiny, insignificant humans who couldn't even save a little girl. Like, he's all over the place. He doesn't know what he thinks. He's a kid. And he's experienced some great loss, which to me is a beautiful thing to play. Because there are a lot of people out in the world, and probably in this room, who connect with that. So I embraced it. It doesn't have to be me, you know what I mean? I don't have to believe it, or it doesn't have to be my own particular position to play it as an actor.
Well, guys, sadly, that is our time. I know. If there wasn't another panel, I swear. But I want to thank Aaron. I want to thank Vic. You guys have been phenomenal. You guys had a good panel.
Well, listen, we're going back out to the autograph table, so come and say hello, and thank you so much for being here, guys. Thanks so much.